It begins with a promise: stylish furniture for the masses. No more overpriced showrooms, no more waiting for delivery trucks. Just sleek, modern design, packed flat in a box you can carry home yourself. That was the genius of Ingvar Kamprad, the son of a Swedish farmer who turned a small mail-order business into one of the most powerful consumer empires in history. He called it IKEA, and the secret wasn't just affordable furniture. It was a radical new idea: make the customer do the work. Flat-pack furniture wasn't just a way to cut costs on shipping. It was a psychological trap. By making us assemble it ourselves, IKEA shifted labor from factories to living rooms. They convinced us that our time, our frustration, our arguments with spouses over missing screws, all of it was worth it for the illusion of savings. And it worked. Today, IKEA isn't just a store. It's a cultural rite of passage. Nearly everyone has an IKEA story. The late-night assembly, the maze-like shopping trip, the meatballs at the end. But behind the friendly Scandinavian branding lies something darker. An empire built not just on furniture, but on control. In 2011, a group of Harvard researchers uncovered a strange quirk in human psychology. When people built something themselves, even something as simple as an origami frog, they valued it far higher than the exact same object built by someone else. They called it the IKEA Effect. IKEA had discovered this decades earlier and turned it into a business model. By forcing customers to assemble their own furniture, the company wasn't just saving money on shipping and labor. They were rewiring our brains. Think about the last time you built a Billy bookcase or a mom dresser. You probably cursed the instructions, lost a screw, and swore you'd never do it again. Yet when it was finally standing in your living room, you felt a strange pride. That pride wasn't an accident. It was engineered. IKEA had turned frustration into loyalty. Every moment of struggle makes you believe the final product is more valuable because you made it. That psychological trick transforms cheap particle board into heirloom furniture, at least in your mind. It's not empowerment, it's manipulation. And it's one of the cleverest consumer hacks in modern history. Step inside an IKEA, and you're no longer in a store. You're in a carefully engineered maze. Wide arrows painted on the floor, endless room setups, and only one way forward. That's not an accident. It's a trap. Retail analysts call it the Gruen effect, the moment shoppers lose track of time and place inside a store. IKEA has perfected it. Each showroom isn't just a display of furniture. It's a microcosm of an ideal life. The perfect bedroom, the perfect kitchen, a future that could be yours, if you follow the path. And the path is always longer than you think. You came in for a lamp, but you're dragged through 45 staged rooms, picking up throw pillows, utensils, and storage bins you never planned to buy. By the time you reach the checkout, your cart is full of small items that add up to massive margins. The maze works because it feels friendly, even fun. Families wander, kids play in mock bedrooms, couples dream about their future together. But underneath the Scandinavian charm lies a ruthless strategy. IKEA isn't guiding you through a store, they're guiding you deeper into their control. IKEA promises democratic design, furniture that's affordable for all. But behind the bright catalogs and playful names lies a hidden cost, one that customers never see. Most IKEA products aren't built to last. Particle board that warps after a move, screws that loosen over time, finishes that chip with the first spill of water. This isn't just poor quality, it's planned turnover. By making furniture disposable, IKEA ensures you'll come back again and again. Cheap becomes expensive when it has to be replaced every few years, and that's only part of the story. Investigations have tied IKEA to illegal logging in protected forests, from Eastern Europe to Siberia. Activists accuse the company of turning ancient woodlands into coffee tables and wardrobes. Global supply chains keep prices low, but often rely on underpaid labor and lax environmental oversight. The irony is brutal. While IKEA markets itself as sustainable, much of its empire has been built on practices that exploit both people and the planet. What looks like Scandinavian simplicity on the surface often hides a far messier truth. Because IKEA isn't just selling cheap furniture. They're selling the illusion that cheapness comes without consequences. Walk into apartments in New York, Tokyo, or Madrid, and you'll notice something unsettling. They all look the same. The same Billy bookcases, the same lac tables, the same Malm dressers. What was once a personal expression of culture and identity has been replaced by a flat-pack sameness. IKEA calls this democratic design, but it's really cultural homogenization. For decades, the brand has dictated global taste, pushing its stripped-down Scandinavian aesthetic as the universal standard for what a modern home should look like. Entire generations grew up with IKEA as the backdrop. The same bookshelves in student dorms, the same futons in first apartments, the same minimalist kitchens in starter homes. The promise was empowerment. Anyone could design their dream space. The reality is conformity. IKEA's reach has standardized how millions of people live, erasing local traditions, styles, and craftsmanship in the process. What looks like freedom of choice is actually the narrowest form of it. The illusion that your home is unique, when in truth, it's identical to millions of others. This isn't just furniture. It's cultural control, hidden in plain sight. For millions of shoppers, IKEA isn't just about furniture, it's about the food. The iconic Swedish meatballs are more than a snack. They're one of the company's most powerful psychological weapons. Food inside a furniture store makes no sense until you realize what it's designed to do. A plate of cheap meatballs, creamy gravy, and mashed potatoes is comfort on a tray. It softens the stress of hours spent wandering the maze, quiets impatient kids, and gives couples a reason not to leave. IKEA knows that a relaxed, fed customer spends more money. The pricing is no accident either. Meatballs are sold at cost, sometimes even at a loss, to anchor the illusion that everything in the store is just as affordable. It's the Trojan horse of retail. Lure people in with food so cheap it feels almost free, then surround them with products carrying far higher margins. What feels like a friendly cafeteria is really a behavioral manipulation machine. You think you're there for lunch, but IKEA is feeding you more than meatballs. They're feeding you the illusion of value. And it works every single time. At the heart of IKEA's empire is a paradox. The company doesn't actually build most of its furniture. We do. Every flat pack that leaves the warehouse is unfinished labor, outsourced to millions of living rooms around the world. Customers aren't just buyers. They're the unpaid workforce that powers the largest furniture business on Earth. And that's the brilliance of IKEA's model. They've convinced us that assembly is part of the experience, even a badge of pride. We laugh about the arguments, the missing screws, the long nights spent with an Allen wrench. But in the end, we accept it. Because IKEA has sold us on the idea that doing their work is somehow a privilege. This is the final layer of control. A global empire disguised as a DIY project. We didn't just buy into it. We built it piece by piece with our own hands. And when we step back to admire the bookcases, the beds, the tables we assembled, we see only the finished product. What we don't see is the hidden truth. IKEA has built far more than furniture. They've built a system where we are the foundation.